There is a major problem on this Buffalo Bills roster, and I think Bills fans should be worried about the safety room. With the performances that we saw in preseason week 2 against the Chicago Bears, they might have to go out and add somebody to this depth chart. We're going to talk about the safeties' performances and who they could potentially add to this roster before the season starts. But first, make sure you are subscribed to the channel. We are entering a sub-battle for preseason week 3. Yeah, we're not playing the Jets, but Patrick Steetman, the host of the Jets Report, was talking crazy to me in the office earlier today. And I said, you know what? My Bills breakdown, my diehards over in the Bills Mafia can outdo your Jets fans. Or do they even exist? Just subscribe to the channel. Help us win the sub-battle between the Bills breakdown and the Jets Report. What's going on, Bills Mafia? You're watching the Bills Breakdown by Chat Sports. I am your host, Tyler Smith. Make sure you go down below and like the video if you're supporting the channel and want to see it grow. Look, the preseason week 2 game against the Chicago Bears was all bad news, all around. This play and specifically just kind of summed up the entire night. Bad angle from Hamlin, bad coverage from Cole Bishop, and this safety room looks really, really rough heading into this next campaign. Now, before we get into the individual performances of each safety, I wanted to kind of show you guys how Sean McDermott reacted to the preseason week 2 loss, the embarrassing 38-0 performance against the Chicago Bears. Here's what he had to say about the performance overarching as a whole. Certainly not up to our standard, what we expect. Got a lot of work to do. That's very clear. Doesn't matter who's out there, 1s, 2s, 3s, 4s, whoever it is. We expect them to perform, and we expect our level of performance to be much better than that. Well, maybe you got to look in the mirror a little bit there, Shawnee, because you're got to be partially to blame at least for this team not going out there and being ready. Now, to be fair, like, it's the preseason. I'm trying not to overreact, and if we look at Bills double-digit wins and double-digit losses since the year 2020. They have, I think, 5 in the preseason and only 3 in the regular season. So there's really not much to take away result-wise, but individually and just the product that we saw on the field was just completely uninspiring, and Sean McDermott has to be to blame for some of that. Now, he's not going out there and missing tackles himself. We'll talk about those guys in just a little bit, but he has a responsibility to have his guys ready to roll week in and week out, no matter how high stakes of an event that it is. More from McDermott here on the whole situation. He says, you got to get out there and playing against their 1s, we expect to compete with them. And that wasn't the case early. And then our 2s, who were out there against their 2s, and our 3s against their 3s. It did not get much better. So we've got to look at it, figure out some things, and evaluate some of the guys as well, and see where we stand there. A lot of work to get done this week as we move forward. Look, I feel like he was coming across a little bit soft in this post-game presser. Like, he just doesn't seem to me like a coach who's just desperate. Will do anything. Will die to lift a Lombardi in Buffalo. Maybe this is what we've come to know with Sean McDermott, but there's definitely some things he needs to go out there and evaluate, starting with that safety room. You need to go out there and evaluate Hamlin's snap count because he cannot be the starting safety for this Bills roster heading into week 1. It is absolutely atrocious, and to be quite frank with you, I'm kind of done with the Hamlin experience in Buffalo. If we look at the people who played the poorest in week 2 preseason against Chicago, Hamlin tops the list there, a 28.1 PFF grade. He played 30% of the snaps, too. He played a good bit of action there, specifically in that first half, and he was abysmal in coverage as a tackler. Multiple missed tackles, multiple bad angles, and just multiple, I can't guard that guy. I don't really want him on the Buffalo Bills defense, especially at the top of the depth chart at their safety spot, because he just doesn't deserve it at the end of the day. And I mean, when you think about other guys who are not performing very well, Dane Jackson, yeah, you are on the cutting board, my friend. But if you look at the Bills safety depth chart, it is not inspiring. Taylor Rapp, haven't seen much of him this preseason. I don't expect to see much of him either. He's been a player who has long struggled to put together long stretches of health out there on the football field. Cole Bishop had his first action of the preseason in week 2, and he was looking abysmal. We'll get back to him in just a second. You got Hamlin there, who could easily be the starting safety for Buffalo between him and Cole Bishop. We'll see how those battles end up turning out, but Bishop didn't do a great job to maintain that spot in preseason week 2. He's lucky that Hamlin was so bad elsewhere that there wasn't really much of movement in that battle. He got Cam Lewis. He got Derek Forrest. Forrest has made some solid plays here as a free agent that they added in the offseason. A couple of nice plays in preseason, but I didn't see too much out there last night that I liked. Cam Lewis, he's been injured. He's had a calf injury that he's held him out of action. So we've really only seen Cole Bishop most recently, and then Damar Hamlin and Jordan Hancock. And Hancock is a player that I am going to highlight here in the next couple of minutes. Let's go back, though, to Cole Bishop, who played for the first time. He's been dealing with a quad injury all offseason long, and he said, quote, "Just trying to get my feet back under me. I've only been back at practice for a little bit." Now, look, we can't ask this guy to be an all-pro level player like in his first preseason game of the season. It's his first on-field action against another opponent outside of joint practices and stuff, of course, which he mentioned were all good. But he said that he's got to get back into game shape. And does that make me very confident in him being the week 1 starter with that just being 3 weeks away at this point? Sure, there's a lot of time for him to get back up to speed, but he didn't look very up to speed last night. He led up that 36-yard slant and run for a touchdown from Olamide Zaccheaus in that first drive, 92-yard drive for the Chicago Bears. And Damar Hamlin did not do much on that play to help the efforts. A terrible angle taken on the tackle, and Zaccheaus was off to the races into the end zone. So Cole Bishop, he's got to get back to game speed much sooner than we all, than even he might expect, because this safety room is going to need him. Especially when you consider that, the other person who played the best at the safety spot last night was not all there. Because he left after the opening play of the second half, where he switched over to nickel cornerback. Jordan Hancock said he's feeling pretty good considering he left with a shoulder injury. On the first play of the second half, he led headfirst for a tackle, and it looks like he got kicked in the shoulder a little bit. And he's downplayed the injury in the post-game press conference, so good to know that he's still feeling healthy, still not going to, this isn't something that's going to keep him out for an extended period of time, because he was an absolute dog in Sunday night's game. He had a team-high 8 tackles, team-high 5 solo tackles. He had a sick tackle for loss where, he had that nice little creep-up move and just go when the ball is snapped. And he had a nice tackle for loss in the backfield on one of the Bears' running backs there. So Hancock was all over the field. I expect him to be on the field a whole heck of a lot more as the preseason concludes here. And he could potentially leap Damar Hamlin. I legit think he is a better football player than Damar Hamlin. So we'll see if he gets up in that Bills depth chart. But we know how Sean McDermott likes to treat rookie safeties not so well. What do you guys think? What's your confidence level in the Bills safety room at this point? Because it is looking abysmal. If it's 1, it means we got to cut everybody, and this season is an absolute loss at this point in that room. 10 being, we're good. This is just a fluke performance by the safeties. Guys, let me know how confident you guys are in the Bills safety room down in the comments section. Next, we're going to talk about improving that safety room and potentially signing a former All-Pro safety. If you guys looked at the thumbnail, well, we did give you a little bit of a hint on who that just might be. We'll talk about that in just a moment, but first, our show today is sponsored by PrizePicks. PrizePicks is America's #1 daily fantasy sports platform because it's daily fantasy made easy. Preseason football is underway and college football is here, so don't miss any of the action this season on PrizePicks. I am pumped to see Josh Allen more or less passing yards. I am pumped to see Khalil Shakir more or less receptions, and you can get started today with a free $50 in your account when you play $5 and use our promo code CLNS when you sign up. Look, I have won a bunch on PrizePicks before. I'm talking 5 figures. I've won over 11 grand on PrizePicks. I like to do the power plays, but you can do flex plays as well, where you don't even have to get all the answers right. You don't have to get all of the answers correct on the test in order to win real money in real time. It's super fun. It's super simple. All you guys got to do is pick a lineup of 2 to 6 players and just pick more or less on their projected stats. Whether it's football, whether it's college football, whether it's basketball, baseball season's in full swing right now as well. You can mix and match all these different sports and pick more or less on their projected stats. As for what I have coming up here on my PrizePicks lineup, we're going a little dual sport action here. Pro football preseason and college football, because they're giving me a really sweet deal. For college football, week 0, they got Avery Johnson, the Kansas State Wildcats quarterback, only needs to throw 1 passing yard. Yeah, I'm taking that to the bank every single time. And then shifting over to the pro football preseason, we got Sam Hartman of the Washington Commanders, more than 85.5 passing yards. He can sling it. And then Taj Brooks, the bruising back over in Cincinnati, more than 31.5 rushing yards. You can tell my picks, you can fade them. Just make sure you go and do it at PrizePicks. Download the PrizePicks app today. Use the promo code CLNS for $50 instantly when you place your first $5 entry. You don't have to win that entry to receive the $50. It's guaranteed. PrizePicks. Run your game. All that information will be clickable down in the comment section and description of today's video. That All-Pro safety, Justin Simmons, with the Bills depth chart at the safety spot, looking like a major concern heading into this season. Justin Simmons still remains an unsigned free agent here, and I think that you should go out and sign him. Look, it's not looking pretty, and Sean McDermott was asked about Cole Bishop, somebody who we could project as a potential starter at that safety spot for this upcoming season. And he said this about being concerned about his playing level and what he saw on the football field on Sunday night. He said, oh man, he said he's going to have to go look at the film and he's got to see where the team is at safety and what they may need. What they may need. Could that be an external free agent signing? That's why we're going to talk about Justin Simmons on the back half of today's show, because this safety room is abysmal. I pulled it up for you before. I'm pulling it up again. I cannot have Damar Hamlin on the field for long stretches this upcoming season. And when you consider the injury history of a Taylor Rapp, of a Cole Bishop, you got to think like there is not a lot of depth at this position whatsoever. So why not go out there and sign a guy who has done the damn thing before? And that's Justin Simmons. Look, there's probably a reason that he's unsigned at this point. He's 31 years old. His best days are probably behind him. And it's come out that he wants to start for a contender in this league. There's a decent chance. Look, he might be washed. But there's a decent chance he can get the starting nod, and he's easily one injury away from being the Bills starter at that safety spot. So he's a guy who's done this thing before. He's got great instincts as a football player. As far as his athletic attributes go, maybe he isn't all the way there anymore. But I think instinctually he is as good of a safety that there could be on the Bills roster at this point. So be the GM for me. Put your Brandon Beane hat on and let me know in the comment section. Should the Bills sign Justin Simmons, yes or no? I want to hear what the Bills Mafia has to say about Simmons down in the comment section. Well, Simmons, he said that he wants to be a part of the Bills if that opportunity does arise. He said the following on the Kay Adams show. You know they're always going to talk crazy to Kay Adams. He said, I said in a podcast maybe a couple weeks ago, teams like Buffalo, Philly, Cincinnati, teams like that have always been in the mix. Obviously, Philly just winning it last year. It'd be special to obviously play for one of those teams. And like I said, Justin Simmons, he may be washed, but I promise he's better than Damar Hamlin. I promise Justin Simmons is not going to take an angle at Olamide Zaccheaus the way that Damar Hamlin did on that 36-yard touchdown in preseason week 2. He's not. He's just not. He has better instincts than that. He is a better overall roamer on the football field. He's not going to get caught by the quarterback's eyes as much as a guy like Damar Hamlin is, shifting the defense and making things wide open in the middle of the football field. Like, I just truly believe the veteran presence and the production that we've seen over Simmons' career far outweighs anything that we're going to be looking at with Damar Hamlin. Now, could it be a situation where he's asking for a whole heck of a lot of money that the Bills don't want to pay? Maybe that's the case, but maybe they're going to have to, fork up some cash if they really want to save this safety room that looks absolutely garbage heading into next year. Simmons has been pretty solid throughout his career, man. He's a perennial multi-interception a year guy. Even last year, in one of his most down years of his career, he still had 7 PBUs and 2 picks. Look, the speed's not all the way there, but the production is for Justin Simmons. 3 forced fumbles in 22 and 23 with the Denver Broncos. Look, that season with Atlanta was not great, and the roster around Atlanta was not all that great. So I can't put too much on Justin Simmons here. I think he's a player who absolutely still has it left in the tank. And if we look at the comparison just side by side between Justin Simmons and Damar Hamlin, I mean, who's the better player? Like, I know it's like marginal for the most part. I mean, but Simmons had a better coverage grade in 2024 when you consider the Bills' defense was probably way better than the Falcons' defense. No? And then we look back to 2023. It's about the same. And Simmons is falling off at that point. Then we go back to 2022. Simmons is far better than Damar Hamlin. Yeah, 2021, maybe in limited action for Damar Hamlin because that was his rookie year. He had a higher coverage grade. But overall, Justin Simmons has been an above-average coverage safety that has incredible versatility and length and being able to scale a couple sides of the field when he's out there at that third level. So I'm going Justin Simmons over Damar Hamlin every day of the week. Now, there is another name on the safety rumor mill that we could be watching for, but it seems a lot less likely than bringing Justin Simmons in. One, because it's from a division rival. Kyle Duggar of the Patriots has been playing with the preseason groups of twos. They've been playing with the second team and in practice as well. But he signed a 4-year, $58 million contract last year and now could be a trade candidate from New England. Look, I don't think the Bills want to take a lot of that money back on their books, so I highly doubt that Kyle Duggar will end up being in Buffalo. I think this would have to be a result of the Patriots waiving him, which I don't think they're going to do, and then the Bills would scoop in and sign him. But as of right now, it seems that Justin Simmons is probably a more likely option for Buffalo to sign at safety because they desperately need some help in that room. Make sure you are following me on Twitter. Give me a follow over at Tyler J. Smith, 2 H's, because my name is pretty common. And make sure you are subscribed to the channel. That will do it for today's edition of the Bills Breakdown by Chat Sports. We're bringing you guys Bills videos all year long. I am your host here at the Bills Breakdown for the foreseeable future. So thank you so much. If you made it to the end of today's show, type Go Bills down in the comment section. I'll be hearting and replying to those as well. We'll see you guys in the next one. And as always, let's go, Buffalo.